Hello and welcome back to Bayside Stories, and to the third installment of Tales of the Daedra. If you haven't seen the first two, there's a link in the description for that. This video covers a few of the Hircine books, as well as some of the other daedra from Morrowind. Thank you for watching, be sure to subscribe, and of course remember to pray tonight. I know a few of you have been slacking on that one. Enjoy the stories. A Tragedy in Black. A folktale from the time of the Oblivion Crisis. The Jamora looked on the young boy with disdain. He looked to be no more than 17 or 18, on the cusp of manhood. You have summoned me. Mother says I'm good with spells. Someday I'm going to be a wizard, maybe even archmage. And what would your mother know of magic, boy? She's a wizard. She's an enchanter at the Arcane University. Ah, another dabbler in the mystic arts. I'm certain she is barely mediocre. You shut up. I read the scroll. I get to tell you what to do. Jamora was silent. Compulsion bound his voice. I want to know how to make a magic dress. I need it for her birthday. The Jamora's answer was more silence. You have to tell me. It's the rules. Free from the previous compulsion, the Jamora answered. First, you need a soul gem. I happen to have one, and would gladly give it to you for so noble a cause. Really? Why do I need it? With a hidden smile, the Jamora handed over the dull black gem. It is not enough to cast a spell upon an inert object. Magic requires thought, intent, will, and emotion. The soul powers the enchantment. The bigger the soul, the more powerful the enchantment. So how big is the one in this soul gem? Oh, that one is empty. You'll have to fill it. But it can hold the largest of souls easily. Do you know how to do that? No, the young man answered sullenly. Let me show you. You cast a spell like this. The tendrils of the soul trap spell spilled from his fingers and surrounded the boy. The young man's eyes went wide. I don't feel anything, he complained. How about now? The Jamora asked, plunging his talons into the youth's ribcage. His heart beat only once before it was pulled from his chest. Quickly, the Jamora snatched back the black soul gem, just as the youth died. His soul tried to flee, but was trapped by the spell and drawn into the gem. Only a black soul gem can hold the souls of men and elves. Your mother obviously never told you never to accept a freely given gift from a summoned Jamora, he said to the corpse. You see, it breaks the conjuration, freeing the summoned from the summoner. Now, let's go find your mother. After all, I have another black soul gem. The posting of the hunt. The writing in this book appears to be a hasty transcription, perhaps from dictation or copied from a longer work. Let no man say before a witness that the hunt has not been called, nor the rites declared, or the ancient offices observed. The ritual of the innocent quarry, also called the wild hunt, is an ancient rite drawing magical energy from the powerful magica stream that engulfs this realm. The creators and times of this ritual are long forgotten, but followed properly, the rite brings great power and prestige to the huntsman. The ritual pits the all-powerful huntsmen and their greater and lesser dogs against the pitiful and doomed innocent quarry, called by tradition the hare, after the mortal creature of human hunts. At once, the huntsman is transported by the exquisite thrill and glory of his might and dominance over his helpless prey, and at the same time touched by the tragic, noble, and ultimately futile plight of the innocent quarry. In the highest and aesthetic realization of the ritual, the ecstatic rapture of the killing is balanced by the huntsman's identification with the sadness and despair of the innocent quarry. As in pieces the body in the innocent hare is torn, the huntsman reflects on the tragic imbalance of power and the cruel injustice of the world. As the hunt begins, the lesser dogs assemble before the green crystal reflections of the chapel of the innocent quarry. Inside the chapel, the huntsman, the greater dogs, and the master of the hunt perform the rites that initiate and sanctify the huntsman, the hunt, and the innocent quarry. The huntsman emerges from the chapel, displays the spear of bitter mercy, and recites the offices of the hunt. The offices describe, explain the law and condition of the 4 stages of the hunt: the drag, the chase, the call, and the view of the kill. Stage 1, the drag, in which the lesser dogs drag the ground to flush out the hare. Stage 2, the chase, in which the greater hounds drive the hare before them. Stage 3, the call, in which the greater hounds trap the hare and summon the huntsman for the kill. Stage 4, the view, in which the huntsman makes the kill with the ritual spear of bitter mercy, and calls upon the master of the hunt to view the kill by ringing the town bell. The master of the hunt then bestows the bounty upon the huntsman bold, who has wielded the spear of bitter mercy in the kill. The master of the hunt also calls upon the huntsman bold to name the next hare for the next hunt, though the huntsman bold himself may not participate in the next hunt. The offices of the hunt, which the huntsman, master, and hounds are solemnly sworn to honor, details the practices and conditions of the hunt. The practices and conditions, also known as the law, strictly define all the details of the hunt, such as how many hounds of each sort may participate, how the spear of bitter mercy may be wielded, and so forth. In addition, the law states that the hare must have a genuine chance to escape the hunt, no matter how slim. In practice, this condition has been defined as the availability of 6 keys, which, if gathered together in the Temple of Daedric Rites, permit the hare to teleport away from the hunt, and so elude the huntsman and his spear. It is inconceivable, of course, that the hare might actually discover the keys and escape, but the forms must be observed, and tampering with the keys or cheating the hare out of a genuine chance of finding or using the keys is a shameful and unforgivable betrayal of the law of the hunt. The ritual of the hunt grants the huntsman protection from all forms of attack, including mortal and immortal weapons and sorceries of all schools. Huntsmen are cautious, however, that the ritual does not protect the huntsman from the potent energy of his own spear, and caution against reckless wielding of the spear in close melee, darkness, or other dangerous circumstances, for a single touch of the spear of bitter mercy means instant and certain death for any innocent hare or fellow huntsman alike. The right to name a wild hunt is a grand and grave right indeed, as all but the high daedra lords are vulnerable to the potent sorcery of the spear of bitter mercy. The spear itself is therefore a terrible weapon, and it is forbidden to remove it from the grounds of the ritual hunt. The House of Troubles. Among the ancestral spirits who accompanied Saint Veloth and the Chimer into the promised land of Morrowind, the 4 daedra lords Malakath, Mehrunes Dagon, Mulluk-Bal, and Sheogorath are known as the 4 corners of the House of Troubles. These daedra lords rebelled against the council and admonition of the tribunal, causing great keen strife and confusion among the clans and the great houses. Malakath, Mehrunes Dagon, Mulluk-Bal, and Sheogorath are holy in that they serve the role of obstacles during the testing. Through time, they have sometimes become associated with local enemies like the Nords, Akaviri, or Mountain Orcs. Malakath is the reanimated dung that was Trinimac. Malakath is a weak but vengeful god. The Dark Elves say he's Malik, the god king of the Orcs. He tests the Dunmer for physical weakness. Mulluk-Bal is in Morrowind, the king of rape. He tries to upset the bloodlines of houses and otherwise ruin the Dunmer gene pool. A race of monsters said to live in Molag Amur are the result of his seduction of Vivec during the previous era. Sheogorath is the king of madness. He always tests the Dunmer for mental weakness. In many legends, he is called upon by one Dunmer faction against another. In half of these stories, he does not betray those who called him, further confusing the issue of his place in the scheme of things. Can he help us? Is he not an obstacle? He is often associated with the fear other races have for the Dunmer, especially those who, like the Empire, might prove as useful allies. Mehrunes Dagon is the god of destruction. He's associated with the natural danger like fire, earthquakes, and floods. To some, he represents the inhospitable land of Morrowind. He tests the Dunmer's will to survive and persevere. The worship of these 4 malevolent spirits is against the law and practice of the temple. However, the 4 corners seldom fail to discover those greedy, reckless, or mad enough to serve them. By ancient temple law and custom, and also by imperial law, the lives of witches and warlocks are forfeit, and imperial garrisons join ordinators and buoyant armigers of the temple in tracking down and destroying those foul covens in the wilderness refuges and ancient ruins where they conceal their profane worship. The Anticipation. The daedra are powerful ancestral spirits, similar in form and substance to the tribunal, blessed be their holy names, but weaker in power, and more arbitrary and removed from the affairs of mortals. In old times, the Chimer worshipped the daedra as gods, but they did not deserve this veneration, for the daedra harmed their worshippers as often as they helped them. The advent of the tribunal, blessed be their holy names, changed this unhappy state. By the apotheosis, the tribunal, blessed be their holy names, became the protectors and high ancestor spirits of the Dunmer, and bade the daedra to give proper veneration and obedience. The 3 good daedra, Boethia, Azira, and Malfala, recognize the divinity of the triune ancestors, blessed be their holy names. The rebel daedra, Mulluk-Bal, Malakath, Sheogorath, and Mehrunes Dagon, refused to swear fealty to the tribunal, blessed be their holy names, and their worshippers were cast out. These rebel daedra thus became the four corners of the House of Troubles, and they continued to plague our tranquility and tempt the unaware into heresy and dark worship. The priests of the temple remain ever vigilant for the signs of the adversary's return, sometimes aided by the loyal three god daedra, who are familiar with the wails of the rebellious kin. The good daedra are known to the temple as the Anticipations, since they are the early ancestral anticipation of the loving patronage of the tribunal. The Anticipations are the daedra lords Boethia, Mephala, and Azira. Boethia is the anticipation of Almalexia, but male to her female. Boethia was the ancestor who illuminated the elves ages ago, before the mythic era. He told them the truth of Lorkhan's test, and defeated Oriel's champion, Trinimag. Boethia ate Trinimag and voided him. The followers of Boethia and Trinimag rubbed the soil of Trinimag upon themselves and changed their skin. Mephala is the anticipation of Avec, but manifold and androgynous. Mephala taught the Chimera to evade their enemies, or kill them with secret murder. Enemies were numerous in these days since the Chimera were small, with enemies on all sides. Mephala organized the clan system, eventually becoming the Great Houses. Later, Mephala created the Morag Tong. Azira is the anticipation of Sothasil, but female to his male. Azira was the ancestor who taught the Chimera how to be different from the Altmer. Her teachings are sometimes attributed to Boethia. In the stories, Azira is often encountered more as a communal progenitor of the race as a whole, rather than an individual ancestor. She is associated with dusk and dawn, and is sometimes called the Mother of Soul. Azira's star, also called the Twilight Star, appears briefly at dawn and dusk, low on the horizon, below the constellation of the Steed. Azira is associated with mystery and magic, fate and prophecy. The Totems of Hircine. Among those of us whom Lord Hircine bestowed his most precious gift of lycanthropy, there are legends that he also set into the world specific artifacts of his power. They date to a period when men could neither write nor speak, nor barely think, but the powers of blood of the beast were yet flowing strong among the selected. The first, a carved skull of the wolf itself, used by those ancient shamans in the blood ceremonies that created our lineage. It is said to grant a great presence to those who posture themselves before it, such that those who witness their forms cower in terror unknown except to those who have glimpsed the face of Hircine himself. The second, a thigh bone, carved as the skull, but from some animal unknown, used as some form of medicinal wand in the more ancient Brotherhood. It was said to grant a kind of heightened awareness, both in sight and smell, such that the prey could not flee too far from our senses. The third, a simple drum, its mundane appearance meaning it is most likely lost to the midst of long ago time. As our fathers would beat time to summon their brethren from the fields, so too would our forebears in the blood call their allies to them with its pounding. Through these totems, we could channel and focus our energies of the beast. While werewolves gave up the powers of magic known to men, we could tap into a more direct natural energy at times, and through these totems discover the abilities that first tamed the world before rot civilization sullied it.